Hi, and congratulations on the purchase of your beautiful new 2018 ProPilot Assist Rogue. This is an absolutely phenomenal vehicle. I know that when we did our test drive, we covered a lot of the ways that you can adjust the ProPilot, what it can handle and what it can't. We also went over a ton of features when we were delivering this to you. I know it can be a little bit overwhelming, so we're going to go back through all of that right now to refresh your memory. At the end of that, if you still have any questions, please feel free to call, text, or email me. I will do my best to get back to you as fast as I can. Let's have a look at what's in this amazing vehicle. All right, we're going to start right here at the dash. We've got a lot of options here. So what we see to start is our home menu. This is the main menu. This is a customizable menu by going into the settings, and then I can customize the home menu from here. I can set up whatever widgets I want to display there. I'm going to leave it as is at the moment. We're going to come back. If I move down here to map, this is pertaining to my navigation system. So again, lots of options here. If I look down across the bottom, I can add in my home. If you're going to add in a home, set it for something near your home. Don't set it exactly for your house address. Heaven forbid somebody should steal your vehicle. You don't want them to know where your house is. So just set it for something that's a whole lot closer, but you can get home from there. Points of interest is going to give you exactly what it says. Gives you all kinds of options here that you can see. So anything that you're looking for, you can find. Now, if you're looking to use your navigation, you hit the destination button there. From there, if you have the home address saved, you can go there. If you know the exact address that you're going to, just press the street address button. Now, if it's not in your current province, hit that and start typing in what you're looking for. Now, right now it says there's 13 matches because it's only got the Canadian maps listed, even though it says state/province. House number is right here. So if I know exactly where I want to go, I can punch in a house number, and then I can start with the street name. So I'm going to type in Baker Drive, which is where we're at. Now, right away it finished typing in Baker. So I'm going to hit space and hit a D, and Baker Drive is my only option. I'm going to say Dartmouth, and there we go. So that gives me everything that it needs. From there, I can start, I can add to route, I can show more routes, lots of different options there. Because I don't need to do that right now, I'm going to back out. If I know that the street address I'm looking for exists in multiple areas throughout the province, I can do city first and then enter my street and house number, and that way it knows exactly which city I'm looking for or which town. Again, we've got points of interest. Previous destinations will show up. Again, you can set a work address. You've got an address book where you can store some things. City center, lots of options here. The main ones that you're going to use are going to be street address, points of interest, and previous destinations. You can zoom out or zoom in, or you can pinch the screen to do the same thing. It's a little fussy at the moment. There we go. But just by pinching it, you can do the same thing to zoom out or zoom in. I'm just going to hit this for the moment because when I do that, then it really focuses on one area there. If I go to audio, I see lots of options here. Now, right now, I'm on satellite radio. So satellite radio comes free for the first 3 months. You're going to have this set up. After 3 months, it's just going to stop. If you want it after that, just go to the preview channel, which is channel 1. It's going to default to that anyway. There's a number right there on the screen. You can call them to subscribe to that. It's not that expensive, and it really is a nice feature to have if you like the same type of music all the time, or if you do any amount of traveling. Down the bottom here, I see I've got some options for my audio. I can go AM, FM, satellite, Bluetooth streaming, or USB. If I hit the source button, I'm going to get a couple more options here. So AM, FM, satellite, we saw. CD is if I have a CD in. USB, Bluetooth. Auxiliary is if I have something plugged into the auxiliary port. Same as with the USB port down below here. And we notice Apple CarPlay is an option on this one because I've previously had my phone hooked up which is an Apple phone, and as a result, Apple CarPlay comes up. If you have an Android phone, Android Auto will also be an option. So for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, you do need to be tethered in using the cord connected through this USB port down below here, connected directly to your phone. And if it's an Android phone, you need to download the Android Auto app from the Google Play Store first. It is a free app. It's easy to install. Once you install it, it just automatically connects after that whenever you tether it in. Over here, we've got a camera button. So if I hit the camera button while I'm parked, I can see out the front of the vehicle and all around the vehicle. Now, straighten my wheel out here. There we go. So this is the view out the front, and this is all around the vehicle here. That view will stay on for up to 2 minutes, or until I hit 10 kilometers an hour if I'm in drive, unless I press the button 2 more times here to turn it back off. Down below here, we've got our dual climate control. So the climate control here offers lots of options. Right now, I've got it set on 19 degrees. The air conditioning is on, so I see this button is lit up. If I press the auto button, it's going to adjust the fan accordingly. So right now it's dialing up because it's still a bit warmer than 19 degrees in here. I'm going to turn this back down. It will also adjust your airflow as to where it goes. So by default, on a hot day, it's going to put it out the main vents up here. However, if I want to change that manually, I can set it for the vents and the floor, just for the floor and the windshield, or back to the vents. And if I want just the windshield, I can hit this button here. My rear defrost is over here, which is also going to activate my heated side mirrors. Now we're going to jump back up here for one more second. In the settings, I want to show you there is a few things that we can do here. So for the connections, I can come in here and I can add a phone. Now right now we see my phone is here and it's connected. To add a phone, simply hit this button. Make sure you're in the Bluetooth settings on your phone, and you're going to look for a phone that says My Rogue. From there, you're going to connect it. You're going to hit connect, and then there's a number that's going to pop up here and on your phone. You need to pair that after you've confirmed that the numbers match up. Also, once you get home and you're close enough to your house, you're going to want to make sure that your Wi-Fi is set up. The main reason for that is it's going to look for map updates and system software updates automatically when you're connected to your Wi-Fi. So we're going to back out of here. This is also where I come to set my clock. Now right now I've got mine set for time zone. It's on 12 hour. I'm going to come down. I've got an Atlantic time zone set because we're in Nova Scotia. And I've got daylight savings turned on. So in the fall, when daylight savings goes away and we drop back an hour, I can just come into the screen, turn that off, and we see my clock has gone back 1 hour. In the spring, we just tap it again to bump forward an hour. Super simple, easy to operate. Now in terms of the Android Auto and the Apple CarPlay, there's going to be a segment that follows this video, or this portion of the video, in a couple minutes, and it'll go over all of that for you. We've also got a 12-volt power port down here. We've got our heated seats down below here. And then in the armrest, I do have another USB port. This one is strictly for charging. And I've got another 12-volt power port in here as well. Now this USB port is strictly for charging. If you want to use this for somebody else in the front or somebody in the back, you can feed the cord through one of these side spots here and out the back, or through one of these 2 spots here out to the front. Next up, we're going to check out our steering wheel. Alright, so we're going to have a look at the Android Auto here. To work the Android Auto, you need to connect via a USB cord down below here, right to your phone. You need to have the Android Auto app installed, which you can get from the Google Play Store. It is a free device, a free app. From here, once that we're connected, we can hit the button down here for directions. It launches Google Maps. Makes your car pretty much act like a navigation system at that point. Just be aware it is going to use a little bit of your data, but not much. To get back out of here, we can simply hit this button here. We can access our phone right from here. as it does disconnect your Bluetooth hands-free. And then over here we've got music. Give us a full list of any music that we want to listen to, or we can head back out of the app right by this button here. So when I hit this and then press our button, it takes us back out of Android Auto. And that's as simple as Android Auto is. Alright, we're going to have a look at Apple CarPlay now. This is a little bit different than Android Auto. You don't need an app on your phone to work this. Once you connect your iPhone to the system, again using the cord to do so, this is the screen that pops up. So very much like the Android Auto, the biggest feature here that you're probably going to use is our maps. So with this, it's going to give you the same feel as a navigation system in the vehicle. It does use a little bit of data. It's not bad on your data, but please be aware that it does use that. And again, like the Android Auto, it disables the Bluetooth hands-free. So your phone, you still have the option here and you still answer it right from the steering wheel, but it is all through the cord on your phone for this. You've also got access to your music, any podcasts that you might have on here, audiobooks, messaging, and WhatsApp. And then that gives you a good view of the Apple CarPlay. As we move to our steering wheel, we see there's a lot of buttons, or at least what looks like a lot. It's really not. So we're going to start over this side here. This button here is going to allow you to answer phone calls or hang up a phone call at the end once you're done talking. This is our voice recognition button. This is the button used to make a phone call. I can change my audio using this button, or I can set my navigation. So as we saw earlier with the navigation, I went through over here and I had set it up using the buttons on the screen. Those buttons are going to gray out as you're driving because it is a safety issue and it's a distraction, so they don't make them optional while you're driving. However, you can still set a destination simply by using the navigation through the voice recognition. So I'm going to do that right now just for our dealership.
Please say or select a command.
Navigation.
Navigation. Please say or select a command from the displayed list.
Street address, 60 Baker Drive, Dartmouth, Nova Scotia.
Please wait. Street address, showing matching locations. Please say or select an item number from the displayed list.
1.
160 Baker Drive, Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Replace destination, add as waypoint, or adjust location.
Replace destination.
Replacing destination. The route calculation is complete. Proceed to the nearest road.
So that's how we use that. Now, I had to replace destination because I had previously set the exact same one while getting everything ready for this video. So the next button I want to show you right now is how to turn on the cruise control. So that's this blue button here. So I'm going to press this and we're going to watch the top of our screen here on the driver assist display. And this shows me a bunch of options here. So this icon here is for the sounds for my driver assist display. So this will tell me when my ProPilot Assist engages. It's also going to tell me when I'm drifting out of my lane because it's got lane drift detection on it. My exact speed once I set it is going to show up here. This icon here is going to light up green, and then we've got a little bar below it. That bar is going to be empty unless you have a vehicle in front of you, and that's for the adaptive cruise control. So right here I see I've got a distance of 3 car lengths plus safe distance set. On my steering wheel here, I do have a button that I can change this, that as I press this, I see I go down to 2, and then 1, and then back to 3. So if I set a distance of 1 car length plus safe distance, once I get within that distance, the little bar underneath the car here is going to light up green as well to tell me it is picking up that vehicle. Finally, the last icon over here is for our ProPilot Assist. When that engages, this whole thing is going to light up green. Now, I do have a separate video that I will also send you the link on. It's on my YouTube page that goes over all the functionality of the ProPilot Assist, when it's in action, how it works, and what the limits are on it. As we move over here on our steering wheel, we've got our volume buttons. I've got buttons to skip back and forth on the presets on my radio. And then I've got an OK button with arrows around it here. So the volume button, nice and simple, really makes it easy. If I look over here, and I'm going to set this for audio, I'm going to press the button to the right after I set my preset here. So I'm on preset 1 and I'm going to hit the button to the right, and we see it goes preset 2, preset 3, preset 4, and if I hit the left button, I'm now going back. So lots of options there. From the steering wheel, you can fully control everything going on with your audio. So as I look up here, this is where we're going to get into the OK button with the arrows around it. Right now I'm on a trip odometer. And it says trip 1. If I hit up or down, I get to trip 2. Now, if I go to the right, I get a fuel economy. And again, there's a 1 and a 2. Now I just changed this to 2. If I go back, I'm now on trip 2. If I change back to trip 1 and I go back over, I'm back to fuel economy 1. The two of those screens correspond. Also, if I press the OK button on either screen, I can reset just the screen that I'm on, or I can reset all, and it resets here and here. So our next screen over is a compass. So this is pertaining to our navigation system. So while I'm using my navigation system, this compass is going to go away and it's going to be an arrow going either up and to the right or up and to the left. It's going to show me the next turn that I have to make. It's also going to count down the distance until that turn. So it's a really neat feature, and the whole point of this is so that my eyes stay forward on the road and not trying to look over at the map to see what's going on. Now the navigation system is going to talk to me as well. So once you get within certain distances, depending on your speeds, it's going to talk to you and tell you what to do. For example, if I've got an arrow showing here going up and to the right and it's counting down and it gets to 200 meters, my navigation is going to say in 200 meters turn right. So everything is designed to keep your hands on the wheel and keep your eyes forward so that there is no risk of distraction. Our next screen to the right. So on this screen here, I see what's going on with my radio. As I look here, I see I'm on FM, and over here I see the same thing. I'm on FM. Now, I also notice on the bottom here that the source button is now my OK button. So if I press the OK button, I switch from FM to satellite, to Bluetooth, to auxiliary, to AM, back to FM. If I have a USB device connected, that becomes an option. If I have a CD in, that becomes an option as well, as does Apple CarPlay if I have that connected. So I'm going to go to the right again. My steering assist, so this is pertaining to my ProPilot. So if I turn this back on, I see everything shows up here. This is a pretty neat functionality on it. Again, I do encourage you to check out the second attached video on the ProPilot Assist. I'm going to turn this back off at the moment. So we move over to our safety shield settings. So there's a few things here. One is our blind spot detection, which is the little indicators on the A-frame pillars on both sides of the vehicle. When you have a vehicle in your blind spot, whether they're passing you or you're passing it, the indicator on that side of the vehicle is going to light up and stay lit up a dull orange. For example, if my indicator right here is lit up a dull orange and I signal to go left, that indicator is going to start flashing and it's going to beep at me a few times inside the vehicle just to let me know there is something in my blind spot. Also, we've got automatic emergency braking and pedestrian detection in the front. So the pedestrian detection is run using a camera that's up in this housing here. The automatic emergency braking is using a radar that is in behind the Nissan emblem in the front of the vehicle. For the automatic emergency braking, if you close the gap between you and the vehicle in front of you too quickly, inside the vehicle, it's going to beep at you and the gas pedal is going to push back against your foot. At that point, if you don't react, The beeping will get louder and faster, and if need be, the vehicle will apply the brakes to help avoid an oncoming collision. You do have a little bit of time on your own to be able to react and take control of the vehicle to avoid that, but it's going to do everything that it needs to avoid it on its own if necessary. With the pedestrian detection, it's going to react extremely similar, except it's going to happen a whole lot faster. You're likely not going to have that leeway to react yourself. It's just going to go right to hitting the brakes if need be, just because if somebody walks out in front of you, they're pretty close at that point. So, same functionality, great to help avoid anything that's coming on. I know for a fact it will work up to 80 kilometers per hour. Beyond that, I'm not sure. This screen shows our tire pressure. So once I start driving, all 4 tires are going to show up. It's going to show me the individual pressure for each one. But here's the beautiful part of this. If you get a low tire, first off, it's going to pop up with a warning on the screen that says low tire. You're going to get a yellow triangle with an exclamation mark right about there. To make it go away, press the OK button. But then on this screen, it's going to show you exactly which tire is low and how much pressure is in that tire. From there, when you go to the gas station or a garage to fill it up, start putting air in the tire. When it gets to the right pressure, the horn is going to beep once to tell you you can stop. If for some reason you continue to put air in after that, it is going to hit a high limit, at which point it's going to beep 3 times on the horn to tell you to stop, and you really do need to stop at that point or you risk ruining your tire. This screen will show any warnings that you have. So if you get a low tire, if you've got a door that's not fully shut, or if you've got low wiper fluid or anything else like that, anything that produces that yellow triangle with an exclamation mark, you can then come back to the warnings later on this screen and it will allow you to go through them. And if you've got multiple, it'll tell you, for example, 1 of 3, and you can scroll through and see you've got a low tire, a door that's ajar, and low wiper fluid. From there, to fix the issue, I'm going to go back 1 screen just to demonstrate. So I can make the warning go away. My triangle still stays there. So when I go over to the next screen, it shows me warning 1 of 1, and it's my door. To make it go away, all I got to do is fix the issue. In this case, it was close the door. The final screen over is our settings screen. There's normally only 1 setting I typically change in here, and that's the way the vehicle unlocks. Nissan vehicles by default automatically unlock the doors when you turn the vehicle off. Most people prefer that when you shift into park, it unlocks. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to go down to vehicle settings, locking, auto door unlock. And each time I get down to the one I want, I'm simply pressing the OK button. Now I'm going to go down to shift to park and I'm going to press OK. And from here on out, every time that I shift into park, it's going to unlock. I just hit the back button a couple times to come back to the main settings screen. That is all of our driver assist display settings. Now down below here, I do have 1 button that I'm going to show up on the screen here. This is for the ProPilot Assist. So when I press that steering wheel button, it shows me steering assist off. That is the ProPilot functionality off. Maybe I want the cruise on, but I don't want ProPilot on for part of the trip. That will turn it off. By pressing the same button again, I re-engage it. Now, it tells me that cruise needs to be on. So if I look up at the top here, right now it's on. If I turn it off, my steering wheel disappears. And it tells me steering assist is off. If I press it again, steering assist is on, and I get my steering wheel back up here. That's the easiest way to know when your ProPilot is on, is you're going to have a steering wheel right up here. So we'll turn this back off at the moment, and I'm just going to hop back 2 screens to there. Down below here, we've got a bunch of buttons. So the first one here is for our traction control. This will turn off the traction control. If I push this button, up here on the screen I see traction control is off. I'm going to turn that back on. You are in an all-wheel drive vehicle, so I highly recommend just leaving it alone. You're going to have all-wheel drive if you run into traction issues. So the way that this is going to work is you're going to drive in front-wheel drive about 95% of the time. If you need additional power, or if you hit any traction issues, for example, hydroplaning, slippery roads, loose gravel, Whatever the case may be, the all-wheel drive is automatically going to kick in right up to 145 kilometers per hour. So this is why I recommend just leaving this button alone. We covered this button a moment ago. This turns on and off your ProPilot Assist. Pressing and holding this button for 2 seconds will open or close the hatch. This will release our gas tank, which is on the passenger side of the vehicle, as indicated with the little arrow on the gas tank below here. Down below, I've got my heated steering wheel. When I turn this on, it's going to stay on for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, it's going to turn off. My steering wheel will get toasty warm. If you want it back on after it turns off, just turn it back on. But in theory, the vehicle should be warmed up plenty so that you don't need to turn it back on. We do have a lock for our all-wheel drive, so if I push this button, again I look up here, I see AWD lock. That's going to stay locked in up to 40 kilometers an hour. Once I go above 40, that lock is going to come off all on its own. But again, as I've already mentioned, all-wheel drive will automatically kick in as needed up to 145 kilometers per hour. Sport mode, if I press that, shows up under my park indicator in brown. This is going to change how my motor reacts. My RPMs are going to jump up and I'm going to have more torque out of the motor. So if I need to get around somebody in a hurry because I'm losing my passing lane, I can hit sport. I'll see my RPMs rev a bit higher, but the motor's going to be much more responsive and get me where I want to be. From there, I'm going to want to turn sport back off because driving in sport mode on a regular basis is hard on gas. My eco button down here also shows up below the park indicator in green, is fantastic for helping extend your gas as far as possible. So you can drive with this on all the time, or you can select when you're going to drive it. If you're going to have it on all the time, 2 things to be aware of. 1, try and go around somebody in a hurry, or 2, pulling away from a dead stop are both going to feel sluggish compared to regular mode or sport mode. Over on my door here, I've got a couple more buttons right over here. This is for my memory seats on the driver's seat. So when I get the seat where I want it, up, down, back, whatever the case may be, I find the spot that I want my seat, and then I adjust my side mirrors where they're good for me, and then from there I'm going to hit set, and then whichever seat number if I am. If I'm driver number 1, I'm going to hit set seat 1. My wife might want to go set seat 2, or vice versa. I might want her to have seat 1 and I'll have seat 2. But all you do is hit set, and then 1, and it beeps inside the vehicle to tell you it's set. From there, the next time I get in the vehicle, if I wasn't the last driver, all I got to do is sit in the seat or open the door and just press 1, and everything's going to go back to my setting. Makes it really, really nice and easy. Up here on our signal indicator, we've got our lights. So that is the off position there with the fog lights off. I can turn my park lights on, I can turn my headlights on, or I can set it to auto, which is where I tend to leave it. That way, as it starts getting dark out, it's automatically going to turn on my lights as needed. When it starts getting bright, it's going to turn them off. Now, with the lights on auto, if I turn my wipers on, whether it's intermittent or regular, after 4 passes on the windshield, that's 2, 3, 4, watch down here, my lights automatically come on. This is a safety feature. Now, I turn the wipers back off, and because it's bright out, the lights go back out. In order to use my fog lights, because if I turn this on, nothing happens, my headlights have to be on. So this will absolutely work once it's dark out. If it's a little brighter out but it's foggy and you want your fog lights on, simply turn your headlights to the on position, and then as I turn my fog lights on, I see a separate indicator shows up down here. Finally, over here I've got my wipers. Once up is my mist wiper. It's going to give a single swipe past the windshield to help clear it off. Once down is my intermittent, and from there I can set my speed for my intermittent. Second one down just puts them on regular mode, and then finally I have high speed. On the end of the dial, I have intermittent for my rear wiper and regular speed. To clean my windshield, I'm going to pull this towards the steering wheel. To clean my back window, I'm going to push it towards the start button in behind here. Couple final things as we move up here. So we have an auto dimming mirror and we see it's on right now. I can turn that off or I can leave it on. Also, I do have home link on this, so I can set up to 3 garage doors on this, so it automatically opens the door just by hitting the button that I've got programmed to it. And then up above here, this is my button for my panoramic moonroof. Now I'm going to push that back and that's going to open right up all the way back. Now there are 2 clicks to that button. I only clicked 1. You will get used to it very quickly. If I push it again, my roof starts to open up and I can stop that anywhere along the way. So I'm going to close that back over again. And I can close the screen by pushing forward again. However, if I simply push straight up on this button, then my roof opens up like a vent, and push straight up again to close it. Really, really nice view out the panoramic moonroof. With our key fob, we get a few things here. We've got our panic button on the bottom. This button here, if you hold for about 2 or 3 seconds, will open or close the hatch on your vehicle. We've got keyless entry, but we've also got remote start. So to work a remote start, hit the lock button and then hit this top button for 5 seconds. At that point, it's going to remote start your vehicle from up to 200 feet away. After that, it's going to run for approximately 10 minutes. If you don't get in and engage the vehicle within 10 minutes, it's going to turn off. If for some reason you're running a few minutes behind and you know that you're going to be 12 or 13 minutes, simply hit the lock button as you're getting close to the 10-minute mark and it's going to add 10 minutes to the count. So if it's been running for 8 minutes and I hit lock, it's now going to run to the 18-minute mark. Should I change my mind and I'm not going anywhere, I can just hit the top button and it's going to turn off the vehicle. Now, you can remote start and stop and remote start and stop, but if you try and do it a 3rd time without engaging the vehicle, it's not going to work. Or if you remote start and then extend it once, it will not let you remote start again. You have to physically engage the vehicle before it'll allow you to remote start again. Now, because you have a key fob, few things to be aware of. When the battery in the key fob, not the vehicle, but the key fob, when the battery in the key fob starts getting low, your very first indication is you're going to get in, you're going to put your foot on the brake, you're going to push the start button, and right up here, it's going to say incorrect key ID. You're probably going to have a moment of panic, and then you're going to remember that we went over this. At that point, let the message go away, and then try it again, and it should work. If you should go long enough that your battery in this dies, in the back of this, I do have a key for the driver's side door. That'll get me in the vehicle. From there, I'm going to want to take the key fob and take the Nissan emblem, put it directly against the start button and use that to push the start button. That will still start your vehicle. You're going to want to go get a new battery at that point. You can either come back to the dealership or any Nissan dealership, or you can go to one of your local stores that carries the batteries and get one yourself. And to do that, take the key out, and then if we look on either side of this key, there's a little dimpled area. If you get something in there and give it a twist, that will pop it open. From there, inside is the battery. It's a lithium-ion battery similar to that of a watch battery. It has a number on it. That number is your battery size. Change the battery, clip this back together, and you're good to go. The batteries typically last 3 or 4 years. Also with your key fob, you have driver assist display. So I'm going to lock the vehicle. As long as I've got this key within 3 or 4 feet of my Rogue, I simply need to have this in my pocket, or if you're a lady in your purse, whatever the case is. Push this once and I get a single beep. This door is now unlocked. If I push a second time, I get another single beep, but now the entire vehicle is unlocked. One push and I get 2 beeps, and now we're locked again. Here's the beauty of this. If your key should fall out of your pocket, or maybe you left your purse in the Rogue, you get out and you push the button. We have a lot of beeping, but it did not lock the vehicle. That's designed like that on purpose so that you cannot lock yourself out. So the final thing that we're going to go over here is the kick motion activation on this vehicle. So if I look down below here, this area here, as long as I'm going to give a little kick underneath that, now it needs to be a fluent in and out. If you pause, or if you wave your foot, it's not going to work. So it's got to be a fluent in and out. And again, my key needs to be within 3 to 4 feet of the back. So if I do this, I get 3 beeps and it opens up. After I've got everything out that I want out, I can do the same thing to close it. Just an in and out, 3 beeps, and it closes. Simple as that. Congratulations again on the purchase of your 2018 ProPilot Assist Rogue. This is a magnificent vehicle. I know you're going to love it as much as I do. Couldn't ask for much more in a vehicle. This thing has everything. So, hopefully this refreshes your memory on a lot of what we covered. You may go through it a couple times because there is an awful lot of information to absorb. If you still have any questions, please don't hesitate to call, text, or email me. My contact info will follow. You do have my card. If you stop by to do service, please pop over, say hello. I'd love to see you. And I look forward to working with you again when it's time for your next vehicle.